here's the Pepsi plant, the front part of it. I really like that Pepsi sign. And what I like about where the Pepsi plant is, it provides a view block and a good backdrop for a lot of the train action coming through the yard here. And you can look at the American Minerals plant, and to give you, there's Sanford & Son's little truck over there. Pretty cool. And to give you an idea what the traffic is that goes through here, during the daytime, coal trains rule the H&M division, which that's where Nola Yard is located, H&M division of CSX. Now, Nola, West Virginia is not a real town. It's just a fictitious town on my layout. And Nola Yard is the yard here on the layout, and it handles mostly coal traffic. And at night, in the evenings, that's when time freights usually roll through here. And the two hottest trains are the Tropicana juice train, if the loaded one, rolls through here in the evenings. And then the empty Tropicana train will roll through early mornings usually. The railroad interchanges with the Norfolk Southern at Deepwater, which is east, and with the BNSF and Union Pacific in the west at Huntington. And that's where all the BNSF power comes in. We have run-through power, and you'll see, you know, Union Pacific power come through here. And then you'll have some Norfolk Southern power, which will roll through here. And usually from the east. And when you see NS locomotives or UP locomotives or BNSF, if they're parked in the yard, that means they're paying back CSX horsepower hours that's owed to CSX. If you see them run through on a train, which a lot of times locomotives will run through, and once in a while they'll stay parked in the yard. But that's our traffic base. 90% of traffic that goes through here is all coal traffic. The Peabody Coal Company has a trackage rights up to Nola Yard, and they interchange. They have a contract with American Minerals, and Peabody coal trains will come in, and they'll either get coal from the A&M Minerals plant, or they'll dump coal to the A&M Minerals plant there. And Canadian National and Reading and Northern Railroads also have trains that'll come in. And there's a Wheeling and Lake Erie, which has a once a month coal drag that comes in, and they'll load or dump coal to the AM plant there. So you'll see Wheeling and Lake Erie trains that'll roll through here every now and again. You'll see one that comes through. And but basically that's the whole thing of the railroad, and those are all the buildings. And like I said, if you're looking for some really cool buildings, check out these buildings at Menards, because they're already wired up, and you just buy the appropriate adapter, which they sell. You can buy the vehicles, and you get these buildings out and set them on your layout, plug them up, and man, they are nice. That Pepsi plant really, they really light up the whole layout at night. When we take night videos, we power the buildings up, and the lights really make the yard look really cool at night. So there you go, all the YouTube guys, and remember, your railroad layout is number one job is to make you happy. So whatever you decide to put on your layout is fine as far as I'm concerned. You know, you're what we focus here, not so much on scenery as prototypical operation, the yard operation. I love switching the yard and watching the work in the yard. We focus more on operational, prototypical operations than we do scenery. But there's some beautiful layouts with scenery, man, that are just wonderful. They're gorgeous. It depends on what you want out of your model railroad. What parts of railroading that fascinate you, and what it is about trains that you like the most is usually what you'll work out on your model railroad. And the whole purpose of a model railroad is to make you enjoy the hobby and to have fun with it. And it doesn't matter if your trains are all scale size or if they're 027, if you have a mixture of rolling stock, it really doesn't matter. Oh, one other note. The locomotives we have here there's a Lionel SD40. Now all the Lionel locomotives that you'll see are all dummy units. We don't have a one-powered Lionel locomotive because we run only DCS here. We're familiar with DCS, and so we just stuck with it. MTH. There's another Lionel locomotive right there, that Chicago. But all the power units are MTH Protosound 3. We might have a couple Protosound 2.0s. I think that Union Pacific right there is a 2.0. But all these others are 3.0. The track is MTH Rail Tracks, or Real Tracks, whatever they call it. And I like it because this track has been down for 6 years. And we've only cleaned it with a paper towel. Every now and again I'll get a paper towel and just go over the top of it. But the track pretty well stays fairly clean. And the Lionel Fast Track I'm not familiar with. I've heard good and bad things about it. The MTH track, this track is really good provided you don't have to disassemble it a lot. It's great for permanent layouts. The hard part is getting it together, making sure the little hooks between the two pieces are pretty straight so they actually connect fairly well. But once you have the track together and leave it down, you probably won't have too much any trouble out of it at all, really. And I think out of the last layout I had for 16 years, and I don't think we even had a switch go bad. We've had one switch go bad, and we had to change it out. But other than that, this track is really held up really well. Very easy to maintain, very easy to keep clean. Now the Lionel Fast Track, like I say, I'm not familiar with it. I don't know how well it is as far as heavy trains go, and how well it'll hold up over years, how hard it is to clean. But the Real Tracks is really good. Now our curvatures. The outside curve on the main line is 082. Everything else in the yard is 072. These switches, in fact that Y, it's all 072. That's our minimum curve, is 072. And that way you can run long trains into the yard and switch them out. And when you're running a long train of 30 or more cars, and particularly when you're backing in a yard track, the more wide your curve is, the better. If you have a tight curve, say like an 031 or 054, and you're pushing a heavy train, a lot of times you risk a derailment. So you might have to break your train apart and make it a little smaller. What we call doubling the yard, where we get a long train in and we have to basically cut it in half, and we shove a half at a time into those holding tracks back there. But that's pretty much it. The one transformer we're running is a Z4000. There's just one, and we have one TIU unit, and so far it's held up. And this layout is going on 6 years old, and we have really very little trouble out of it. It holds up pretty well, and the wiring of the layout is pretty well straightforward, and everything's pretty reliable as far as MTH goes. And there's a Lionel unit right there, N&W, which is a dummy unit. And here's the trick: if you're running dummy units, but you want to make them appear like they have sound, then put 2 sound units in on each end, and that way the dummy unit will appear like it has sound, like it's a locomotive, powered locomotive, or a locomotive with sound, and you can't hardly tell. But you can also say, well, the dummy unit was a unit that was shut down. It's offline. So, however you want to do it, because railroad operations, anything that is possible usually happens, so. But anyway, there you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it answered all your questions. But yeah, be sure to check out the Menards website and check out some buildings. They're really nice, and I haven't had a problem out of a Menards building yet. And I wish that somebody would make a fueling center for locomotives in O scale. Like a realistic fueling center. Or what the railroaders up here call a fueling pad. Take the locomotives to the pad. That's what they say. We on CSX here, we say, service tracks, but we don't have any fueling facilities, really, although it does somewhat appear that we have, locomotives are serviced here. But that would be great to have a realistic looking fueling station. Maybe Menards might come out with that sometime. But anyway, thank you guys for your interest in the videos here. And I mainly do these videos when I'm home, and mainly just sort of for me. I'm a studio musician, and I play in bands and do studio work and stuff, so I'm not home very often, but I like just filming the trains, and I film the layout like I do the real trains, the full size, and which is what a model railroad does. It mimics the real thing. So if it models the real thing, why not videotape it or photograph it like you would the real thing, And that's what I sort of try to do, just come up and shoot at certain angles that make the locomotives and things look as realistic as possible, The grass on the layout is very thin carpet, very, very thin carpet. And it has a rubber bottom to it, which makes the layout very quiet. This little carpet, and it's very easy to keep clean too. And it looks pretty cool. And kind of like a well-blonde, well-mowed grass, whatever. But it keeps the sound of the trains rolling pretty insulated, pretty low, and so we don't have trouble with that. And I've got my favorite saying on the layout: "Happiness is being a train buff." And I like it when kids come up, and of course even the grown-ups. Some of my musician buddies who will drop in every now and then that haven't seen these things, they come up and they go, "Oh, whoop-de-doo, model trains, But then when you crank these suckers up and they sound like the real diesels, and then their eyes just bulge right out of their heads, and that's always pretty cool. But anyway, I thank you guys, and hope everyone stays safe out there, and enjoy your layouts, and that's the main thing. And take care. Till next time, bye-bye.